preserve the consent of the governed, we can protect what Burke called the little platoons of local and private and voluntary and charitable and religious associations that are the lifeblood of a free society. And in that cause, an institution called the United States Senate came into being a dozen years after independence was declared to make sure that the smaller states, such as a Delaware in those days or a Colorado in latter days, would have a voice in the deliberations of the federal government. Colorado has been extraordinarily blessed and fortunate in the caliber of the citizens that have represented our state in the United States Senate over the years. Two of them are with us this evening. Two others sent their good wishes, unable to be with us in person. I want to call that honor roll of 4 United States Senators and then have you hear from one of them. From the home state of our special guest this evening, Michelle Bachmann, former U.S. Senator Rudy Boschwitz, from our own state, Senator Boschwitz, unable to be with us this evening, from our own state, former congressman, former senator, former president of the University of Northern Colorado, former president of the University of Colorado, our friend Hank Brown. With us in the room this morning, this evening, I'm not tired. With us in the room this evening, someone who had the caring touch for those animals that are part of Colorado agriculture, and he brought that caring to Congress and later 2 distinguished terms in the United States Senate. He and his wife are with us this evening. As they stand, please recognize Joan and Senator Wayne Allen. Finally, the friend to many of us, the hero to many more, he served in the Colorado House, the Colorado Senate, 6 terms in 6 years, 3 terms in the United States House of Representatives, 2 splendid terms in the United States Senate, mentioned as a candidate for president, came home instead and went back to his great love of business, a career in which he has built and run some 20 companies, which is still an avocation for him, but his vocation today, at an age when lots of people would be watching the world go by, his vocation is to lead Colorado Christian University into its 2nd century that will begin in 2014. The man for whom something called Western Conservative Summit was just a gleam in his eye back in the wintertime, and look at what we have now, Bill Armstrong.
It's no secret that the conservative movement in America is coming back to life. It's being revitalized. And there's many, and right here in the room are many of those who are making that possible. You're going to hear from one of the greatest of them in just a few minutes. There's a lot of them, Wayne and Joe Nallard. There's others around the room, Foster Freeze, who has spoken so eloquently. General Boynton, heroes of freedom, of faith, family, and freedom. And there's others outside the boundaries of this room. But you know, there is one who I think we ought to acknowledge before we take another step. There is one who has done more to put the issues in perspective than anybody I can think of, and who really is responsible for the intellectual and cultural and political revitalization of the American conservative movement. And I refer, of course, I'd like to propose a toast to that person who has done so much to bring victory to conservatives. And I refer, of course, to President Barack Hussein Obama. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. On behalf of the trustees and faculty and staff of Colorado Christian University, thank you for coming. We are honored to have you here, and it really is going to be a hoot. A few years ago, Ellen and I were having a little soiree for 40 or 50 people in our home, and you know, we gave them some refreshments and some appetizers and whatnot, and we had invited a guest lecturer to speak. And after a few minutes, after everybody had a chance to have a bite to eat and whatnot, I invited him to come into the living room and be seated. And as they did so, I introduced the guest speaker. And I gave him an enthusiastic and warm and generous and uplifting introduction, and before he could say a word, a man in the front row stood up with a kind of a sheepish look on his face, and he said, "Oh dear, I'm in the wrong meeting." Now, is there somebody here tonight who's in the wrong meeting? I mean, if you come here tonight with the conviction that what's really wrong with America is that we just don't pay enough income taxes, this might not be your meeting. Did you come here tonight thinking that socialized medicine will mean better health care for America's families? I'm pretty sure that somewhere tonight there's a meeting for you, but this isn't it. And in fact, my advice to you is, if you happen to believe that, my recommendation is that you consult a mental health professional. Now, you'll come to the right meeting if you believe it's time to balance the budget and stop spending so much money. If you think taxes should be reduced permanently at once, if you believe that the people of Arizona should be